Russell Bean is the resource specialist at Tuskegee University. Russell and Jewel Bean, his wife, are third generational farmers. They operate an 88-acre farm, S&B Farms, in Eufaula, Alabama, which has been in the Jewel's family for over 105 years. They grow vegetables, fruits, and medicinal herbs. They also raise goats, poultry, and heritage pigs. Jewel and Russell are award-winning farming experts. They were named 2016 Lloyd Wright Small Farmer and 2017 Small Farmers of the Year by Alabama NRCS. They have been featured in several top magazines, newspapers, and television stations. Jewel and Russell received resolutions from Alabama House of Representatives, Alabama State Senate, and Barber County Commission for their work as farmers in the community, county, state, and region. Jewel is a resource specialist for food nutrition, health, youth, and community development with Tuskegee University. Russell is a resource specialist for small farm agriculture and environment with Tuskegee University. Russell and Jewel have several published research in the Professional Agricultural Workers Journal. Russell and Jewel have completed more than 20 classes each in agricultural, plant, and animal science practices. The Beans are certified in FSMA, post-harvest, risk management, marketing, master goat producers, tunnel house production, and energy data collection. All right, without further ado, we welcome Mr. Russell Bean from Tuskegee University.
Thank you so much, we appreciate it. There's our screen share still there? I have to click that again?
Yeah, you have to click it again.
Okay. It's amazing, my phone never fails to ring when we're on this. It's like people know it for some reason. I don't understand, don't get it. You're able to see that screen?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Okay, great.
Full screen mode and.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm just going to go through this quickly. And so you talked, that's the name of our farm. It's over 110 years old. And it's kind of and going right here, live right here. All this many workshops that we've had over the years.
Okay,
and
today I was just gonna say you're getting a little static. It seems like it's clearing up now, so you may be okay. But
okay,
yeah, just be mindful.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay, thank you. And these are some of our workshops. These are some of the media that we've been in as well. And this is the supporting about what we're going to do. And for some particular reason, I don't see the comes up.
Culture and hoop houses on additional land. In all, the diverse farm includes cropland, pasture land, and forest land. Come on, boys! In addition to their main enterprise of raising goats and growing vegetables like collards, turnips, kale, and broccoli, the Beans have pigs, chickens, cows, ducks, and rabbits. They also grow peppers, melons, strawberries, pineapples, and medicinal herbs.
Take the leaves from this hibiscus tree, just pop it off, take it in. You can dry it, use it in teas. Take this, you can put it in your water.
The Beans have been able to make it work by learning all they could about sustainability and conservation. Over the years, they've participated in workshops, leadership institutes, and built relationships with their local RC&D council and land-grant universities such as Tuskegee University, Alabama A&M, and Auburn University. Through their relationship with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, they've been able to combine their knowledge and conservation assistance to make several improvements on their farm.
I came out here when they first started with practices for NRCS. We did fencing on a woodland grazing. Then we added some pipeline and water troughs. And we're doing another woodland grazing area back in the back now.
The Beans have used the Environmental Quality Incentives Program to address water quality, water quantity, soil erosion, and soil health. They have implemented prescribed grazing, pasture planting, terracing, micro-irrigation, and constructed a stream crossing. A wooden high tunnel helps the beans address plant vigor.
He does a good job with his farm here and trying to keep everything going. It has changed a lot since I first stepped out here.
Not only have they helped the land on their farm, they've made it their mission to help other small and beginning farmers.
I said, we have not only just a passion for this is our calling. So we are so blessed that we get to work in our calling, what we know we're put on this earth for, and we get to share that with the world. It is just absolutely amazing.
They regularly host training seminars and workshops on their farm.
Because when you come in the farm, and when we came in, we didn't know what resources were available to us until it was shared.
They've been very instrumental in promoting the services that NRCS provides.
The Beans' commitment to conservation and determination to give back is why they are the ideal recipients of the 2017 Small Farmer of the Year Award in Alabama.
All right, I think, Mr. Bean, are you back?
It's showing them law. I think you're muted, Mr. Bean. If you can unmute yourself, maybe we can do it for you.
Okay, I'm unmuted on the phone. And did you get the email for the
Let me double check. It wasn't in just a moment.
the PowerPoint?
I'm double checking now.
It's amazing.
Give me a signal.
We can go on through.
Yes, sir.
Next slide.
Okay. Oh.
Next slide. That was the workshops that we were talking about we're having in our meeting. Next slide. Some of the media dealing with NRCS, those are beans that we had gotten. They did a story, small story on us. Go ahead. Next slide. Same thing. This is what we call a strike force in our particular area, an initiative that we had in Alabama that we participated in with the farmers. Next slide. This is some of the things that we received, like the water trough system, NRCS cost share program, and these are the chickens that are pasture range. Next slide. Those are the tunnel houses. We ended up getting 2 of those tunnel houses with NRCS through the cost share program. Next slide. This is a wooden tunnel house system that we used through RC&D Council that we were able to receive as well. We love the wooden tunnel houses versus the metal tunnel houses, which are the others. Next slide. This was the chicken tractors that we used, where you can put your pasture poultry in, so that you can protect your chickens, and you just move this slide along, move it along, let them eat the grass. That was a cost share program. Next. This is a well that was installed. That's a cost share program we received. Next. Okay, where do you begin? It's that all farmers and producers, growers have same thing in common. Our farms are different. What we do are different. We grow different things. But there's one thing that we all have in common, that we must have knowledge and need knowledge to what we're going to do with our business. It takes money, it takes time, it takes work, of course, and resources. So you need to gather your documents, like your deeds or your lease agreements or your control agreements, and You get that information together. Make sure you have all of that. Decide what you're going to do. Write it down on paper. Attend workshops. Before my wife and I started and made the decision what we're going to do, even though it was an existing farm, my father-in-law had not farmed in quite a while. And so we wanted to find out what we wanted to do. So we went to workshops all over. We found every workshop we could go to and attend from A to Z to one end. My wife and I did that so we can talk with other farmers, get other resources so that we wouldn't be blind. And the next thing you would do is you would go to the FSA office to get your farm number or your tract number. If it's an existing farm, it already most likely has a tract number. But if it does not have a tract number, they will assign that tract number to you. You will need to take the deed or the lease agreements with you, those control forms. In NRCS, that's the beginning before you can even go to NRCS. And then after you've done that, then of course you can go to NRCS. And you can sign up on farmers.gov portal. And then when you've done that, you will be authenticated by NRCS to go to the next step. And you will be able to apply for these programs online, go through your account and see that. And hopefully I'll be able to show you that through my account. I'll schedule a farm visit with the NRCS so that it can come out to your farm, look at those things. And all what I'm telling you is no cost to you, no charge. It just takes time to do this. And they will come out and look at your farm and look at the different programs that's available to see what you're having. If it's an erosion, where you're going to put your tunnel house, where you're going to do your pasture, if you're going to establish your pasture, all those conservation programs. And you do this by building a strong relationship with the people in their offices. And of course, other offices like Extension Office, universities, and the FSA office, and the NRCS office. The FSA office is where you go to get also microloans. They have a microloan that's available up to $50,000. You can use it for operating. You can use it to purchase land, purchase equipment, purchase seeds, fertilizer, other inputs and those things with that streamlined microloan. Of course, if you want to go to the bigger loans, you can go to the normal FSA loans. And when you go to these offices, you ask for a receipt of service. In the previous workshop, Ms. Alexander talked about some of the issues that we as minorities have had going into this. We still have those issues today, but you have to do your due diligence and ask for these things. And they should give you I'm advocating that they give a receipt of service. That gives accountability to them, because what happens is if they tell you they can't do this or they're going to do this, it is in writing. Cruise through the NRCS and FSA websites. They have each state has its own site, and then there's national sites. So you have to be able to go through those particular sites. There's a lot of information there. I know it's going to be overwhelming, but you just have to take the time and take it in bites and go through that information. They don't really make those sites user-friendly. That's kind of typical with a lot of websites. Sometimes the people that create these websites, they don't use them themselves. But being said with that, do not let that deter you. Get on mailing lists like the FSA, the NRCS. We get their information when you sign up, and so you find out about these programs. Network with other resources like the Extension and the universities. Next. And I took one slide back. Do your own due diligence. Stay up to date with what's going on with the Farm Bill. And you'll see that on the website that you can click on that, because the Farm Bill determines what funds and what practices are going to happen. Now, let me say this. You get inputs, you get times that you can give information what is open to that Farm Bill. By staying with that, you can do it through the universities, through the Extension, and directly through the NRCS sites. They put that information out and say, give your input. Now, there are many programs that come down, and each of the state determines what program it is going to, say, extend to the clients or to the farmers. So not all of the programs are available in every state, but the majority of the ones that are most popular are, because there are just hundreds of them. Ask questions often. It makes a big difference by you asking questions. Sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, but by beginning to ask questions, it will lead into other questions that could pop up, or maybe let them know that you're genuinely interested in what you're doing and you're serious about what you're doing. We have a very good relationship with all of the departments that we work with, because they know that we do our due diligence and they just can't give us any kind of bull, so they don't even try. Sign up is the time that you can do. You can sign up for these programs all during the year. But remember, you're kind of a year behind. What you're signing up for this year, you don't see until the next year, because there are systems, the way that they do it. When you sign up, they rank you, they batch it, they give you approval, and then they tell you to start your program. They do. There are funding that's available, what we call cost share programs, for historically underserved, veterans, new and beginning farmers, and organic. Now, these cost share programs help you fund your existing farming. NRCS cost share programs do not start your farming business. So if you go in there and you don't have any animals, or you don't have any things that's already existing for the farming, then you won't get any of these funds. But you can go in and start just a little bit. If you're just growing a small garden, or if you just got a few chickens, or if you got one cow or one goat or one pig, that's a start. And so when you want to get the irrigation programs for well and drip irrigation, it says that, have you had any irrigation on your farm previously? Well, my father-in-law didn't have water connected out here. So he would put water in his truck, dip it out of barrels, and he would take that. That is a form of irrigation. If you're watering by a water hose or you dipping out of a bucket, as long as you're getting water on your plants. But if you're just depending on just what we call the Mother Nature, then you will not get funding for that. So be very careful about what you answer them. If you do your due diligence up front, you'll know these things. You get a job worksheet for everything that you've been approved on. It tells you the guidelines of all of those practices. Follow them exactly, because if you don't follow them, you will not get funded. And then you would be looking at, well, why I'm not getting the money? Because you didn't follow those guidelines. So every practice that you want to do on your farm, there is a guideline sheet. And if there are any problems, you call the person you're working with, stop. And I did that often, because sometimes those guidelines won't work on your farm. So I call them back out and say, this won't work, it doesn't make sense. And can we do this? And he says, I'll find out, Mr. Bean, I'll get with the head office, and yes, we can do that, or no, we can't, or we can do it a different way. And so that eliminates your problem. I had a friend of mine that put up their fence. They didn't call, they didn't follow the sheet guidelines. When the man came out, the inspector came out to inspect it, it wasn't right. So they had to go back and do that over again. I do not like going back, doing work over again. I like to do it right the first time. If you're not sure, like I said, call and ask questions to get clarification. That's their job. And so I would tell Mr. Hatcher, he's retired now. And he said, Mr. Bean, that's what I really like about you and your wife. You would ask us questions. You would ask me things when if you didn't understand. And you know what? If he said something and I did not understand it, I would tell him, I don't understand what you're talking about. And if he said it again, I would say, you know what? I'm still not getting it. I would not let him leave until I knew exactly what he was talking about. Or I would repeat what he said and say, is this what you're saying? Because some of us, we don't feel like we don't want to know. And I understand you don't know and you don't feel like maybe you're ignorant. Well, the fact is that you are ignorant about some of these things. So you have to get over that and get your chip off your shoulder. Now, some of you all might not going to like some of the things that I'm going to say today, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, because we have to get past emotions and we have to stick with facts, numbers, and figures, and that's what the NRCS does. Keep good records. Keep records. Just keep good records. Whatever way you're going to do it. QuickBooks, with your accountant, writing it down on a piece of paper. They don't tell you how to do this or give you any specific way you have to do it, but you need to have these records available when certain funds come up. And there's a program right now with the COVID money that we were able to get those COVID money, COVID funds, and we were able to help a lot of people get those and we walked them through those processes. Because you know what? No one is knocking on your door, banging it down for you to tell you these funds are available. You have to do your due diligence and stay up to date to go out and get this information. And a lot of times these windows are so close, you may only have a week or 2 days or 3 days when you hear about it. And that bugged me so much when we first got into business. But that's just the way it is. It hasn't changed. And so what we did, we adjusted our way of thinking and went with the flow so that we could get those funds. Another thing you can do, you can ask for 50% up front for some of these practices. Now, generally, these practices take 2 years to go through, and you have to follow those guidelines. And after those 2 years, you can do what you wish. But give an example. They may give you a longer period of time if you don't get them. They will give you a longer period of time if you don't get the 50% up front. But if you get the 50% up front, you have to complete putting up that tunnel house or either putting that well in within 30 days. So what I always would do is put my longest practices on the contract at the end and put my shortest ones on the front that I knew that I could do. So in other words, I made sure that I could go in and get them, and I knew what I can do myself. So you have to know your limitations. A lot of work I did myself. Some of you understand you're not mechanically inclined. You don't do those things. Fortunately, I can do all of those things. And the things that I couldn't do or the equipment that I did not have, I hired someone and I found out what I was going to be, and I would negotiate with them on the cost so that I could minimize the amount of money out of my pocket, or either I got them to agree with the exact amount of money that the NRCS was cost share giving me. And give you an example. When we first got our first 2 tunnel houses, they were almost $12,000. So I called the guy up and I said, this is what I'm going to get and this is what I have. And I'm going to assign the payment to you. And you will drop ship them. He drop shipped them to me. I put them up. They came out and inspected, and they sent this guy the check. And he took exactly the amount of money what NRCS was giving me, so I didn't have any additional money out of my pocket purchasing the tunnel houses. I hired a couple of my friends that came, with my wife also helped me, and myself, and we put the tunnel houses up, and I paid them for that with a little additional materials, and it may have been about $1,000 out of my pocket. Do not do any practice before your approval, because if you do the practice before you're approved and sign your contract, you will not get paid. And like I said before, negotiate with your vendors or the labor that you're going to do yourself. And I've done that many times. Matter of fact, the people that would put the well in that you saw, I told the guy, I don't care if you have to drill to China. They're going to give me $6,000, and that's all I'm going to pay you. Can you do that? He said, yes, I can do it for that. Next slide. Tell me, how much more time do we have?
We have about 15 minutes.
Okay, so those are some of the programs that we got on our farm: fencing, organic transition, erosion control. These are just some of the cost share programs. Next slide. Okay, those are some of the sites. I'm going to go to the site. I hope we can share that and you can see the sites that I'm talking about. Let me get out of that one.
You want me to go to click on the FSA site?
Yes, the FSA-USDA.gov. Do you see that site?
Yeah, it's popping up now, I think.
Just showing the site that it has the programs and services that's available. those drop downs just show those, and it's just basically the sites, and then just scroll down, or you seeing it on yours or mine?
Yeah, I'm seeing it on mine. I'm on the program and services drop downs, just kind of lightly scrolling through those so they can get a gist of some of the offerings.
Okay, good. I'm not able to see what you're doing. There you go. Okay, great. Good. And just go through those particular ones. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. And then go to the NRS site, NRCS Alabama. Did you have that one?
Yeah, give me NRCS, yeah, Alabama.
USDA.gov/. Now I do have them. I do have them up. I could share them if you want me to.
I got it coming. I just got to share my screen again. But if you want to share your screen, that's fine. That's fine too. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. On that particular site, as you go through some of those drop downs and go through those areas of the different programs that's available. Some particular reason I'm not. And see at the top of there, so every state have their one, and look at the top right-hand corner. If you click on that, it gives you the state websites, and they have, you don't have to do that, but it'll show you all the different states that's available. Click on Contact Us.
Contact us.
Yes, over to the left. And you see those different addresses that they have the directories in there? And if you scroll down, you should be able to see the different offices and who are over those offices and their phone numbers. And you may have to go back to contact off, go back and then, okay, local, state, what is that? State office.
Okay.
Okay, see that? Conservation, kind of scroll down through that. Those phone numbers, emails, who is over all of those different programs that's available on that site. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's great. Let's go to the farmers.gov resources. I'll need to do that screen myself.
Okay.
And let me move that up. And okay, this is the portal. This is my portal in. It shows that I have no documents pending, that I don't have any loans. We offer a debt. We have a debt-free farm. Everything on our farm is debt-free. The homes that we have on it, the structures that we've added, we're free. Actually, my wife and I, we live a debt-free life. Praise God. I mean, it's just wonderful to be able to owe no one anything but to love them. And we love you anyway, regardless. You can apply for a CFAP. Those are what I was talking about earlier. This site kind of works in conjunction with FSA and the NRCS programs. But you can look at those particular programs and you can go through those things and find out what you have, the homeland. And I'm going to look at some of the conservation programs and see if you can see some of the documents so that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Hopefully pick there. Some of the practices, start your request. 0 practices, they're due the next day. If we have any practices, you put those in. And if you have other documents that's uploaded, you can put those in. And you do all these things from this website without necessarily going into the office. And you can look this information up and you can be able to track those things. So this should be able to show some of the practices that I have. They've changed the site so much as well on different ones. See those different ones that they have prescribed burnings? They say they're paid. Look at the obligation amount. They paid me in that contract. Look at this contract. It paid $137 for the pipeline to run to the water troughs. The water facility, $115. Livestock pipeline. Heavy use area for putting down accommodations for livestock, to help with the trough areas. 375, 375. You add that money adds up. It looks like it's a little bit, but it adds up. Fencing, $852. More for pipeline, heavy use area. These are all the contracts that I've gotten. Fencing was $1,200 and something or more than. So it breaks up into different contracts depending on the year that you've gotten and when you apply. All of these are funds that I have received. Obligation, and it doesn't go back all the way to when I started in 2010. This only goes up to, I believe, from 12, 11, go to 11. Land clearing, see those dollars amount? Look at that one, seasonal high tunnel, it was $5,500 times 2. Critical planning areas, all of those, and it says if they're completed, when they were done, and what it has. Here's one for access road. That was an access road between my pastures, so I would not have to drive on the street. I would not have to move my animals up on the street. I could stay on the property and minimize my risk and not worry about someone hitting my animals or my animals hitting someone else's property and doing those things. So those are some of the funds that I received. I'm gonna get out of that and show you quickly the programs that are available. You can see, if I can see those, the cost share programs. I don't know if they're there or not. We're going to try it. Well, we got about 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm coming right to the end here. Okay, are you able to see that equip environmental incentive programs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, these are all of the different programs that are available. There are hundreds of them. And look to the left, it gives the code number, it gives what the practice is, and it gives the component of the practice. And over to the left-hand side, right-hand side, it shows you what it will pay or what it will cost sharing. I'm just going to scroll down through them. And I'm going to show you something. And you can get this all online. Now, what I would do each year is I would get these programs. And a lot of times I would know more about the program than the DC because I did my due diligence. Because he's got so many people to deal with. You're not the only person that they're dealing with. So that's why I say that no one is more interested in your farm and what it does than you. And so you do not leave that to anyone else. You take that on yourself. So these are the programs, and you can download those programs and go through those programs. And when they come out to your farm, you can say, what about this program? What about that? Because they may miss some. And then you can look at one and think that this may be something I'm interested in. And then you can ask them about it and you can discuss it with them. I want to show you the tunnel house. It's 325, I believe it is. Down at the bottom, number 325, high tunnel system. You see it pays per square foot of $2.55 per square foot. And over to the other side, it says HU, high tunnel. That means underserved, historically underserved. So for minorities, veterans, you get a higher cost share, or we get a higher cost share. Instead of getting $2.55, you end up getting $3.06 a square foot. So you can get about $6,600 on the tunnel house. So that's just basically it. These are the programs. I'm not going to go through all of them, but those sheets are there. I had to dig out those sheets. I had to ask for those sheets. I had to find this information and go and do this. Ponds, fencing, what it pays, all of those things. We did that ourselves. Due diligence. I cannot stress due diligence. Find out, ask questions, these resources available. With that, that's it for me. You can go, if on the PowerPoint, you can show my information at the end of the PowerPoint.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ben. I'll definitely pull that up in just a moment. If you can stop sharing your screen, I'll pull the PowerPoint up with your contact information. I did get word from Sister Raina that we do have time to still field questions. We do have a hard stop right at 2 for the next presentation. But I'm sure there are questions from the audience. I didn't really see any in the Hoover chat so much. But definitely, Mr. Bean, we appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your insight as someone who has undergone these experiences in dealing with the NRCS and the USDA, your leadership and assisting us in navigating these processes as well. So at this time, if there are any questions from the audience, we'll begin to take those. And in the meantime, I'll be pulling up his contact information.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, yeah, I have a question. Are these grants or given out to churches who own land?
That's correct.
And,
Yes, they are.
okay. That's important.
Next slide. There you go. Yes, they are available. It's available to anyone that doing farming or has farming process. There are plenty of churches that have gotten tunnel houses and put tunnel because maybe they had small community gardens and they wanted to get the tunnel house, and so they added the tunnel house. So yes, these programs are available to churches.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes.
Yes, I have a question. How large is the farm? How many acres?
Our farm is 88 acres.
88 acres?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
It's a centennial farm. It's been in my wife's family for 110 years, and we are located on a 50,000 acre lake called Lake Eufaula, Alabama.
That must be beautiful.
It is.
Yes.
So, Mr.
Thank
B,
you.
are there any like acreage requirements, like minimum acreage requirements to be eligible for any of the NRCS or FSA programs?
No, and I'm glad you asked that question. And if anyone tell you there is, that is a flat out untruth. It could be a small plot. It could be 20 by 20. You know, it could be a quarter of an acre, whatever. As long as you're doing the practice, they have not identified that yet. Not that it won't come down the pipe. It could, but at this point, no.
Okay, thank you.
And if anybody tells you that, then do this. Say, show it to me in writing. Give me a receipt of service. Go ahead.
Russell, is your farm, is it your property?
Yes, but it is our property. There are how many siblings? 7 living, but we're the only ones that are operating the farm and utilizing the farm, and we're all in agreement.
Great. Why do you prefer wood for the hoop house or the tunnel house? I heard you say that rather than metal.
Yes, the metal houses are traditionally much higher, and see, tunnel houses, if you don't close them down and if you don't operate them properly, when you have a storm, which ours have been damaged by storm for wind, they will have a tendency to blow over and upheave. The wooden tunnel house is lower down, and the only thing I've had to replace on it are the plastic and, of course, the doors from use. And so they just stood up better. And not only that, I could use the wooden tunnel houses to hang baskets in the rafters where you cannot do that in the metal tunnel house.
Oh, thank you.
We offer our classes every Thursday at 12:30. So for free on our, and we talk about all agriculture every Thursday at 12:30 Central Time. And you can email me and we'll be happy to put you on our mailing list.
Any other questions from the audience? Still have a few minutes.
Excuse me, are there any options, say for a small group that wants to do urban farming, say setting up a greenhouse and doing something like that on a micro scale?
It can be done on a micro scale, but the person that is applying for it or the group is applying for it would have to own or either lease the land that maybe they have control of it collectively, and who would be in charge for that to sign if they could do that.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I know that you are in Alabama, but what you are instructing, this could be all over, anywhere in the United States?
That's correct. And each state is different. Each program that is offered is different. Some states may offer, say, for instance, micro irrigation. In our area, you may go to another area, they may not offer it. So that's why you get those programs that I showed you. That is the ones that are for Alabama that's available, and each state has their own.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bean, can you talk very quickly just about the micro loans that you mentioned, the FSA micro loans, and how some of those interest rates kind of compare to some traditional loans?
Great. The microloans are now up to $50,000, and you can go on to the NRCS or the FSA site and type up the microloans, and it has a sheet on it. The interest rate is 3.75%, or I believe it is. It changes, but it's very, very low. It's much lower than the traditional loans. And it give you, and the payback period is depending on what you are getting the loan for. The loan could be short term or it can be long term. If you're getting for operation costs, that's basically about 2 years you have to pay it back. We've had some people that bought land with it, some people that used operation costs with it, and with the COVID, they were able to extend that period of time. But so whenever you get the money, you have to make sure that you're able to pay it back. If not, stay away from loan. I don't care what loan it is. If you're not able to make payments and pay it back, then stay away from it until you know that you're sure. We don't put our farm at risk for any purpose or, when it comes to loan. That's us, and I highly suggest anyone else to do that.
Sounds right.
I have one more question. On your farm, as far as the, you spoke about the cost, but what about the profits from it? How do you get your contracts or unless you're going to talk about that in your class, or is that something that you can just touch on right now?
Yes, we talk about in all that class. We talk about risk management. We talk about all the things. We talk about finding out what you need to do before you plant to find out how much money you're going to get it with it on a cost analysis. And we talk about those things as well. And so I highly advocate people have a farm stand on their farm if they can. We have a farm stand and a small country store as well. And so when you offer those services, people, they will come to you. There are other programs called CSAs where people purchase shares of what you're going to grow up front. It gives you money up front, and you deliver the products to them as well. A lot of people are making good money with that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And please email me.
Is there a fee for your classes? Is there a fee for your classes?
No, those classes are free.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and they're very, very, very informative.
Yes.
And they're all listed. We have back classes. They're listed. I don't have that link right now. I forgot about it. It's on eextension.org. And you can click on and put our name in, and you can see about 30 or 40 classes, and you can get the recordings from previous classes as well, and download information and resources.
Thank you.
All right, we're just about at time. Do we have maybe one or two quick questions remaining for Mr. Bean? If not, please, find him on the Hoover platform. Continue to ask questions to him. Get his contact information, his wife's contact information. Attend her presentation as well. Stay in touch with these people, because as they spoke about their purpose and their mission, it's not only operating their farm, but assisting others in doing the same. So definitely take advantage of that.
And since 2010 up until We have received over $100,000 from NRCS and FSA programs that's available.
Any last
And
questions? Oh, go ahead.
And we've helped other people get these programs and get this money as well.
Okay, this is really my last question. So you don't have to have the land up front to get the loan. You can have the be in the process of purchasing the land, or do you have to have the land?
If you've purchased the land already and you're making payments on it, you can still get a loan and still get the cost share programs. If you don't own the land, you just have to have control of it and have a long-term lease, at least 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions at the moment, let's all just thank Mr. Bean for his time and his information. Like I say, please stay connected with him via the Hoover platform. Under the speaker section, you can find him. Our next session for the summit will begin at 2 p.m. on the same Zoom line. We'll probably end this one and just have everybody log back in, but it will be on the topic of utilizing genealogy to locate and build, diasporic African communities. All right, that's at 2 p.m. coming up. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Mr. Bean, and we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you.
And one quick thing that I wanted to say, please don't be intimidated. This money is out there. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not out there. There's over $400 billion available right now throughout the United States. The states, all states, from Alabama to the next one, have not utilized that money and have those funds that's available, because the money, federal government give this money to your state, and the state administers it, and they're holding off on this money, and it doesn't make sense. There's never a shortage of money, and there's never been a shortage of money. It is who has the money, and you have to know where to go get it and ask for it. And if they tell you no, go back again. If they tell you no, go back again. Why? You stand your ground, and you will get it.
Absolutely. That's a great point to end on.
Thank you. Yes.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Please email.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'm clapping.